Born in the pines where the axes sing loud. Generations deep, we're a proud, tough crowd. Hands on the Bible, the timber, the steel. Faith in the Lord, the life that we feel. God, guns, and sawdust, it's in our veins. Through the sweat and the toil, through the joy and the pain. We stand on the roots of the trees we felled. Faith in the Maker, story.
What did I do?
No.
I mean, how come
Hey guys, welcome back to God, Guns, and Sawdust. We got you back here again, and we were, I guess, horsing around a little bit during the intro. It just happens.
Hey,
Alan's making me sit next to him today. I mean, it's kind of like, really?
Well, I didn't know that we were color coordinating, and I just feel like we didn't match real well.
Well, I mean, you get what you get.
True enough. So, speaking about getting what you get, that's kind of the whole deal with self-employment too. And we were kind of talking about that on some of our little group round robin calls that we have in the mornings while we're all headed to work or getting ready to work. And it's not always as easy as what it looks like. So I guess that's kind of going to be what we're going to touch topic on a little bit here today. But first, I think we need to open in prayer.
Yep. Open in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us this opportunity to join together. We hope that this message finds everybody well in health. We hope that this message will help someone, and we hope that this podcast will be a platform in which you can be put forth. In your precious and heavenly name, amen.
Amen. Thanks, Russ.
So we're kind of seasoned now. We've done this already before.
I guess we have, haven't we?
Is it easier now?
Seems to be. I feel a little bit more relaxed. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I haven't killed the technology yet, so
Hey.
that's a start. That's something.
This time.
This is totally different than running a chainsaw, isn't it, guys?
It's quieter.
It's a lot quieter. I got my hearing protection
Exactly. We're safe.
Somebody ought to be happy.
on. I'm sure somebody's out there chuckling right now, aren't you? Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so all the stuff that they're complaining about, we're taking care of it right here. So they
Right
don't need
here.
to complain on the videos anymore.
Who needs hearing aids when you've got these on your ears? You know what I'm saying? All I've got to do is walk around with one of these and I'm good.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting when you get on social media and the way everything kind of works and the comments that you get from people and how many people think they know how to run your business better than what you do.
Oh, isn't that the truth? From their couches.
Yeah, couches and keyboards.
You know what I've found in life? You will very seldom be criticized by somebody that's doing better than you.
Amen to that, Ryan. That's a good point.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been pushing with my social media stuff is that collaboration starts at the top, competition starts at the bottom.
Amen.
So if you're going to work with somebody, you're going to start right at the top. Somebody that's doing well for themselves is never going to have a problem trying to help somebody else out that's doing a good thing.
No, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, and you know, your critics, they very, very seldom, if you go back and look at them, they very seldom post pictures or videos or anything of them working, you know.
Yeah, you got ones like mine that got little pictures, little bitty fish. You know what I mean? Other they might be a fisherman. They have no clue what anything is about logging.
Yeah.
But then they comment stuff like they do. And the ignorance in the comment is so loud it's not even funny. I'm like, did you really think about this before you wrote this down, buddy?
And then there's the other thing. I mean, even if you've got an experienced guy giving you some criticism on there, the camera angles don't show everything.
No. Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
you take like where I'm at, one of the big things is in the mountains when I'm cutting timber, the cameras never show how steep it is.
Right. That's one thing you cannot get a camera to do. Everybody's like,
No.
hey, man, Indiana's flat, dude. Guys, we've got ravines, we've got cliffs, we've got sinkholes that you would not believe. It's just not all flat. And it sounds good. Now, a lot of the ground that I do cut is flat, and I thank God for it because, hey, there is pieces out there that you got to be half billy goat, but that's why I live in Indiana.
And you know, honestly, some of this terrain can be more annoying than the steep stuff. Because I've got elevation. There's steep and then there's elevation with it, and that changes things. When you've got out west, they call it long ground. You know, when you've got a ridge that rolls out long, that's going to be different to work. You can lay it out. And you can do stuff.
Yep.
Short, small gullies, steep gullies, like a lot of what you got around here that I've seen. Oh gosh, I've worked some of that before in the eastern. You know, well, still the mountainous part of Virginia, but it's east of where I'm at, and it's a challenge.
It's worked just like the mountains, though. If you start at the bottom and work your way up, it's like a puzzle.
Yep.
And a lot of the timber cutters have no clue what the puzzle is, and they cannot figure it out. And that's the thing. If you've ran a skidder for long enough, and then you become a timber cutter, oh man, you're going to have so much more respect for the skidder operator, being that at one time. I don't know how many times I was mad at somebody the way they laid that tree, so then I couldn't get it out. But if you laid it the opposite way, I could have backed right up to it, man, and took off with no problem and been back. And it's all about, I work by the foot. So if you're working production and you're needing that footage out, everything's got to be laid right to get it out so you're both making money. If you got to fight it for 30 minutes, that 30 minutes could be 2 more trees you could be getting out at the end of the day, which could be 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet adds up fast.
And that's something I've seen a lot of times with inexperienced skidder man. They want to grab every stick that they can. A lot of times it's faster, especially if sometimes a timber cutter doesn't have a choice. He's got to lay something down a certain way to keep from breaking it or tearing up something else.
True.
And instead of trying to grab 2 or 3 trees that are right there, if he'll grab one and just come on out and go with it, in the end, it winds up being quicker and less damage.
Yeah,
I agree.
Faster. That's what Grandpa always said. Go light, go often.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier on the equipment. It's easier on the ground. It's easier on the wood. So it helps to preserve everything all the way around. And if you're being easier on what you're cutting, you're going to get more money out of it in return on the other end. So.
And that goes back to taking care of your business. You got to think about all these things.
You do, because every place you log is your future in coming back.
Yeah.
Especially here in the Midwest and East Coast, we don't have, a lot of us loggers do not plant anything back. And I know all of you are like, oh my word, you don't plant no trees, but you're cutting them down? Well, it's a totally different situation than West Coast, and people do not understand that. We take out the smaller trees so that, or the bigger trees so the smaller ones can grow. That's the way it's set up. In that process, low impact logging, which is where Typhoon comes in handy with their equipment. I mean, the less stuff you tear out, getting it out is going to be like the next resource for Green Bean when he gets older to log it. It's all a little pattern, and it's all in a plan, like it's circle.
Yeah, we're all still young enough too, though, that if we do this right, we'll get one more cut out of these lots, and we'll be able to make our money. I mean, if we're going into taking low grade out now, we can save all that high grade timber for later on, and we may get an actual decent paycheck out of this instead of just going in and cutting out firewood and pulp.
Right.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing you were talking about, we don't replant back here. In hardwoods, replanting is extremely low success rate, and there's no practical purpose for it in most instances because the hardwoods regenerate from the stump sprouts anyway.
Right.
If you go back and look, you can walk through a forest after one of us has come in there and cut. You come in there a few months later, a year or so later, and there's all kinds of new shoots and suckers coming up off these the stumps.
You're right.
Same thing with like Alan when he's butting his logs off. If you get some butt rot or something like that, you come back in, those cuts that he butt off, they're going to be sprouts coming out of that. There's no stump there or anything, but they're going to be resprouting. So that's the regrowth.
It is neat how it all works, really. I mean, it's again all in God's plan. It's the way everything. Now you can abuse that just like you can abuse anything else. And a lot of people get mad at the logger when they go in the job site and they leave, and man, there's nothing there. Oh my word! Did you guys see what Jim Bob did down there on the corner? Yeah, but you don't know how it worked. And a lot of the American people, a lot of the people around the neighborhood have no clue what happens. They blame the logger. Easy thing to do. When actually, and we've had this happen. You go and do the best you can on the job. You do the best you can. You get everything done. You don't skin anything up. You give them $30,000, the amount set, half of whatever it was. You're feeling really good about it. Everything went great. Job's done. Landowner walks up to you and says, hey, you guys did amazing. I cannot believe what you did, but man, we got to have more medicine for my grandma. So is there any way possible you can go back there and find me 20 more grand? You're like, 20 grand? Man, you're not going to have anything left, ma'am.
Nope.
You don't understand. This has been on our property forever, and my grandma's going to die. We want everything we can get, please.
Yep.
What do? Your equipment's there. I got cold chills like no other because you got to feel both pains. And it's very easy to drive by their place and look. Oh, my word, looks like a bomb went off in there. Yeah, but you don't understand the whole situation. In other words, don't judge a book by its cover. Yep. Find out before you start bad-mouthing any kind of company that's out doing that, because it could be the totally different situation that you're making the homeowner and the logger look bad when you do that to them, whenever you really don't know the whole situation.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And that kind of goes back to that whole self-employed thing. You know, you don't know where the next paycheck's coming from.
Nope.
So if that landowner wants that land cut and you don't know where you're going next for the next job, guess what? I'm here. Let's cut it. Let's do what we need to do.
Right.
And
It's
you work
feeding
together.
our family.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no plan B with this stuff.
Nope.
We're not working for somebody else. We're working for ourselves. So if this doesn't pan out, somebody's going to pay the bills still.
Amen.
You know, as a kid growing up, my parents, you know, our background is, you know, farming and logging. I'm a first generation logger, like we've talked about before, but, you know, with the dairy and whatnot, we had a big dairy farm, and, you know, when you're self-employed, it doesn't matter whether you're farming, you're logging, you're a framing contractor, a plumber. It's usually either feast or famine.
Yep.
So you when the work's there, you've got to get it.
You got to.
You know, the old saying, make hay while the sun shines. You
Boy,
got to
I
get
hate
after
haying.
it.
I don't
That's
like
not
haying
what I
one
heard.
bit.
I heard you like square
No,
bales.
I'm not in that shape for that hay stuff. I'm all set
Well,
with
round
that.
is a shape,
Round bales are fine. The tractor picks those
Right.
up just nice.
right? Yeah,
Round is a shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
square
is.
bales. No, I'm all set with those square bales. I'm
I'm
good.
with you. I'm with you. Now, hey, I grew up. My grandfather had 42 head at one time of Belgian horses, and man, hey, the sawmill guys. My grandpa owned a sawmill, and the sawmill guys would come help him put hay up at 4:30 in the evening. Okay.
Yeah.
After they worked all day in a non-air conditioning sawmill,
at the end of a green chain.
$3 more an hour. They only gave him $3 an hour to come help them. And these guys were chomping at the bits. Couldn't
Yeah.
wait to get on the trailer. I think the most they ever did in the night was like 1,500 bales.
But
That was from then till dark.
that's a different breed of man back then. I
Ain't
mean,
no
I mean,
lie.
Grandpa's cut from that same cloth. Those
See?
guys, they just don't stop.
They don't.
They don't. I mean, if he knows there's logs there, he's there cutting. If he knows something needs to be done, he doesn't ask, does this need to be done? He just goes and does it.
Those are the
And I mean, they don't ask when the job's done. They quit when it's finished.
amen.
And,
Yeah.
you know, that's what we're losing a lot of times now with workforce and with employees. And that's why small business is so hard, is we don't have those employees to lean back on that really take pride in what they do anymore. Everybody's entitled. They want X number of dollars an hour, and they want
Amen.
X number of weeks off. And what do I get for benefits? And, oh, I can't work on Tuesdays because Tuesdays I go here instead. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Right.
Well, and when you, as an employee, you know, I think all three of us here have been on both sides of that fence as an employee and an employer. At 5 o'clock, you usually go home.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the employer,
You're not
you don't
going
get to do
home.
that.
No.
I mean, that's your life.
That's it.
And, you know, a whole lot of times for employers, it's very stressful. If you've got really good guys, you're sitting there like all this bad weather that you've been hit with, Alan, where y'all been out of the woods for quite a
Oh,
while.
man.
It's you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I've got, you know, it's not only my family I've got to feed. I've got 4 guys. I got 4 families besides
Definitely.
mine that depend on me.
Yep.
And I've got, you know, the banks after me for this equipment. You know, I've got these 4 families plus my family. You know, what am I going to do? How are we going to do this? There's a lot of times they get a paycheck and you don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
amen. Especially in this business.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, if you're self-employed and you got a group of guys that are working for you, if you want to find out who's working for you to help you and who's there for a paycheck, all you got to do is ask them, hey, can you wait a couple of days to get paid? I'm waiting for some invoices to get paid from customers. Checks haven't cleared yet. The guys that'll say no problem, or hey, what can I do to help? Those are the ones that are there to help you. The guy that blows his lid because he's going to be 2 days late on his paycheck, he's there for the paycheck.
Yeah, he ain't there for nothing else.
And I mean, I've seen that time and time again with my own business and with other businesses that I work for. And you don't really realize what's going on or who's working for you until stuff starts to get hard. And then it's like, hey, wait a minute. This guy that I thought was, you know, really here to help me, he's not here to help me. He's
No.
here to help him. And,
Right.
you know, I've had employees work for me and at other places that I've run. You don't need to pay me. What do I got to do? You know, this is my job, my livelihood too, you know, and they treat it like their own. And when you find somebody like that, it doesn't matter what business or what line of work you're in, you treat them right and you use them well, because you don't find those employees anymore.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
you take care of them.
Yes, when you find one, man,
Yep.
you got to pat him on the back and say,
Yeah.
hey, buddy, what you need?
Well, I mean, they're worth the,
Especially today.
you know, at that point, you know, I think that's one thing that Americans are really fed up with, this whole corporate America structure that we've had the last couple of decades, the corporatism and whatnot. People are pretty well fed up with it.
Yep.
and
Go back to mom and pop.
Amen. And, you
Yep.
know, a whole big problem for mom and pops is a lot of the regulation and stuff. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize that the employer has to pay taxes and everything else out on the employee in addition to any potential benefits.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just the $25 an hour that you're paying them. By the time
No.
you figure all the taxes and benefits and everything else, you're looking at $50 an hour for that
Sure.
employee.
Minimum.
So now, all right, to work him 40 hours a week, I got to come up with $2,000. If I want to work him 50 hours a week, I'm coming up with almost $4,000 out of pocket by the time I figure overtime and everything else. So where's that money come from?
Then what do you do?
And when you start looking at that and you got a wet week and you know you're not going to work this week and you've still got 5 guys on payroll at $4,000 a week, where's that $20,000 come from?
Well, and you know, one thing in this country now, in my opinion, it's gotten to the point where you've either got to be really large or really small.
Yep.
If you're in that middle as a business,
Middle is hard.
it's a slaughterhouse.
Oh,
I mean,
it is.
it's not a good place to be. That's why, you know, I work by myself, or, you know, my son helps me or my wife helps me, and, you know,
But do
that's,
they voluntarily help you?
well, you know, it just depends on how they
How nice you ask.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Hey, I know what you guys are talking about. You know what I mean? And hey, our wives help us out a bunch, especially.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And we are going to have a podcast. We will have a podcast about our ladies and how much they help us. Logger wives.
Oh,
are
we
the
need to.
best
Oh
you
yeah,
can
my
imagine.
wife, she's the first couple of years we were married, she was shoulder to shoulder in the woods with me logging, and I mean, she was running skidder. I would do the chainsaw work, and she would pull cable, and she would sit there and set her own chokers, pull her own turns. I mean, we ran cattle, hogs, and I mean, she hayed, she ran the equipment. I mean, I've seen her at, you know, 20 degrees in the pig farrowing barn, laying down on her side in the hog slop, pulling a pig out of, you know, a sow having a hard time pigging, and she's up to her elbows in it, her shoulder, because my forearms won't fit.
Right.
I can only
Big
reach in
boom,
so
baby.
far.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know, so
If you guys haven't noticed, Ryan here, he's our logger farmer, man. I mean, this guy's got it going on down there in West Virginia. So, I mean, honestly, these are the best people to be loggers because they can talk to the farmer and they know where the farmer's coming from, which is a big thing in the logging part of it. You know more about the farmer's land. You know what's very important to them. And loggers like myself, we have to study that too. But
Mhm.
when you are the farmer, then, man, you can really do some awesome work for the farmer.
well, it also, you know, I'm the type of person, I can't speak for anybody else, but variety is the spice of life, right? So
Well, I think we
Right.
all suffer from a little ADHD, so
I don't
having those
suffer.
Extra,
I
extra
don't
things that we
suffer
do.
from ADHD. Those around me do.
I do.
Yeah.
Y'all suffer from my ADHD.
And you know, honestly, I think that's part of what's helped me with my struggle of just doing firewood is I do some other things too.
Yep.
So those other things kind of help to break that up a little bit.
Yep.
Whether that's a big break or a small break, whatever it is, it helps to make that happen.
But it also adds diversity to your business. And
It keeps my mental midget quiet.
right.
Bingo.
Right.
Yeah.
Not always doing one thing. You know,
Yes.
that's what I love about firewood. And don't get mad, loggers. Okay. There's a lot of loggers that do not like firewood guys.
There's a lot of firewood guys that don't like loggers.
There's a lot of firewood guys that don't like loggers. And there's a big reason for that. And, you know, I can remember when I was young, of course, I'm a fifth generation, like, you know what I mean? We grew up in it. So
Mhm.
you see a lot of changes. And, man, everybody always asking my grandpa, hey, can I come over to your log site, man? Cut up some firewood? I don't know. We've had some people do that. It never ends up good. But you know what? You seem like a really good guy. Go right ahead. We came back the next day and the guy is cutting up our logs.
Yep.
All
Yep.
these tree tops are out there and he's cutting up our logs. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You need to get out of here, buddy. You don't even know what you're doing. Man, that's why loggers don't like firewood guys because they
Yep.
give them a break. Okay,
Absolutely.
man, we know what it's like. We know you're going to make money with it, but hey, everybody's got to make money.
Yep.
And this guy needs it cleaned up. But what do? They go to our log pile because it's the easiest one to get to. You
Makes the
know,
nicest
these right here are
firewood, though.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's straight grained. There's
Oh,
no knots
my
on this
goodness.
stuff right here.
Hey, you know what, Bob? That right there split real good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I you know, having that diversity.
No
helps.
offense, no offense, Russ.
None taken. My nicest firewood I get comes from a sawmill, actually.
See, that's great.
So they
That's great.
set aside a
Do
couple
they
of
know about
loads. Most of the time. Yeah, so they set aside a couple of loads a year for us. They pick them out as they go because it's actually one of the companies that I work with,
Defect.
PV Manufacturing, And, you know, it may be a defect log, or somebody will slip an elm log in with their ash logs, or it might be a maple log that got snuck in, or whatever it is, but they're all still really nice straight logs. So it's the nicest firewood I get my hands on all year. I look forward to those 2 loads. So I can understand why they go and cut out a log pile, but myself, having done a little bit of logging too, I'm not going to cut my logs up into firewood.
No. Strictly talking about firewood, guys, you know, I mean, if you have the equipment to pull the trees out, it's great. But I mean, like in the situations like you're talking about, and like you have talked about, a lot of people in Maine buy their firewood, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
from the logger then.
Yeah, it's a completely different atmosphere than what a lot of the guys south of me have. I hear all these guys, they're getting wood for free from tree services, and they're getting stuff dropped off at no cost. And I just start drooling. I'm like, man, even if it was bigger, it's free.
Hey, Lily Farms is the same way. The Lily Farms on TikTok.
Oh, Matt.
Awesome.
Matt's
an awesome guy, man. And he gets all them loads delivered in for free.
I know. Every time he's dropping those free loads in his yard, I'm usually commenting on his video. Man, I wish I could get some of that. But I mean, even just 2 hours south of me, you've got Allen Family Firewood. They're a pretty big YouTube channel. They get all their wood for free for the most part.
That's awesome.
But throughout the course of changing his business and evolving, he's paying for his wood now, because the free wood they were getting, he was having to go travel to go pick it up. So
your time's
yes, it's
worth
free,
something.
but your time's worth something. So when he figured out he's buying in already debarked pine logs that are culled from the mill because they've got metal or a defect in them.
Right.
They're dropping them right off in his yard. He doesn't have to travel anywhere. He can just come to work and go do firewood. So it's making it quicker for him. So now he's paying for it.
Here in Indiana. So it's really good for I know 5 of the guys that I grew up with, DNS Tree Service being one of them, awesome guys out of Belleville, Indiana. But they can actually sell a dump trailer, 12-foot full, for $120 with, logs. Whatever they can get in there, they can take it to the guy and they'll buy it from him for $120. I'm thinking, man, we never seen that before.
Yeah.
Before you couldn't even get rid of the stuff. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
Now you can sell it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. One guy got a processor. He's like, hey, I need firewood. I got all these orders, and can you guys help me? He just reached out to the tree service guys, and boom, there you go. And he started buying it from them. He's like, no, you can't have my firewood. I sell it. You sell it? Yeah, I don't even have to touch it. I was like, are you kidding me? No, they buy it from us. $120 a dump trailer, and I'm not taking nowhere but them because it's 15 miles away. It's a no-brainer.
Well, I remember years ago when I was doing tree service work, you would have to pay, I think back then, if memory serves me correct, it was like $50 a ton.
Yep.
If you didn't have a place to dispose of it and you had to take it to the landfill, it was like, I think it was $50 a ton. I tell you what, got stuck in my head.
We did a job in Terre Haute. It was last year during the big storm that we had. And at first they were letting everybody take it to like the city dump and dump it, and they were pushing it up.
Yep.
Well, one idiot ruined the whole thing. You know how that goes. We're not doing it no more. Take it to the dump. We had 3 more trees to cut up and get rid of. We took 1 load to the dump. All it was brush. $385.
Yep.
Anybody knows there's no way you're going to make no money. So I ended up hauling it 35 miles back to our log yard and dumping it and coming back with the last 2 loads. But there is a place, if you would take it, they charge $20. You can dump whatever you want there. I don't care what you've got.
Yep.
They're grinding it for mulch.
They're grinding it for mulch. Yep.
Yeah,
and
we got
they
a
did
place
let
like
you
that up by me too.
Yeah.
So.
That makes it nice for the guys. But if they're going to pay you for it,
right,
the log part of it, any tree service is going to be like, yep, we never got paid for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
More and more of them are catching on to that up our way, and they're like, well, we'll sell it at a discounted rate, because typically I pay anywhere from $130 to $170 a cord, depending on what it is delivered to me.
That's big bucks. See, that's half.
So
that's what I pay. Like, Mr. Clint, he brings the wood to my log yard. You know what I mean? I don't have to go out and get it, man. He brings it there in poles.
And he's got some nice stuff he brings.
Oh,
I've
it's
seen
awesome. I mean, you cannot complain at all whatsoever. And 35 a rick. How can you say no? Dude, buddy, I'm not saying nothing, man. I love you. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay for the trucking. You got to pay for the time cutting it. You know what I mean? So basically, I can see where it's beneficial both ways. If it's wet, I'm not going to go out to the woods and cut wood. You can't in the woods because it's too wet. If it's in a log yard, it don't matter if it rains 5 inches. The next day we're going to work.
Right.
So, and that's part of managing your business. You've got to keep that stuff flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you log, do tree service and firewood.
Yep.
That spreads your risk out on days when it's too wet to log. You know, I don't know about up here, but down in the mountains where I'm from, 20 years ago, we figured that we could work 200 days a year,
Yep.
is what we would work in the woods. And now, most of the guys are figuring, I've had some guys, I think it's probably closer to 150 days, at least for my style of logging.
Yep. I would
But
agree somewhere right around in there.
I've had some of the guys sit there that are conventional tell me that they figure it's only 100 days. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but I could see that.
It's been a month since we worked, so we've already got 30 days right now.
Gone.
And if it was one day, because man, it would be like, hey boys, it's dry. Yep, it is. Let's go get it. So you go over there, you break everything out, you get going, you get moving. Rain next day.
Yep.
What in the world, man? So now what? Well, let's go back to the log yard and do this. Well, you've already done up all the maintenance because you've been down
Right.
for a month.
Yep.
So now you're just sitting there twiddling your mouth, wondering what the heck we're going to do the next day. And it's the hardest thing to.
Well, years ago, when I had guys working for me, we had a Wood-Mizer sawmill. I'd bought that with the intention that on days it was too wet to log, we could pull back and, cut ties or custom
Yep.
lumber for people or something like that. And that worked fairly well. That could have been developed out better. I could have done things better going back and made that.
There's always a chance to do it again.
Yeah,
Sure.
there is.
Hey.
Well, Carrie and I.
If your wife's listening, she
Yeah.
might know that we're sawmill shopping now.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a wonderful thing about the wife I've got. She doesn't care a thing about jewelry or whatnot, but she doesn't mind equipment.
Yeah, no, I'm
She's
pretty
not
blessed that
bashful.
way too. My wife, she usually doesn't say a word if I say, hey, I want to go get this, or I think this will help the business. She's like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, that's how I met you. I mean, we talked
Yeah,
about that.
that's right.
Yeah.
I was over working with Allwood Log Splitters, a company that built my splitter for me, and I see her running a firewood processor over with Ryan, and she's flagging me down. Hey, come here. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, talk to this guy. They're looking for dealers. I like this, and she's running a firewood processor. Now, granted, she hasn't helped me in my firewood yard in years, and she's over there running that process. She's like, I like him, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go.
I will have to say that Typhoon 500 did win over my wife pretty well.
It's a
The
smooth machine.
joysticks very nice.
They're smooth.
The
They're
thing
just
that
very
I like
smooth.
about everything is there's so many choices.
There is a lot of choice.
And because of that competition, it only helps the end consumer so much more.
Sure.
Because what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for Ryan.
Amen.
Well, everybody's got different wood. They've got different conditions, and they've got different criteria. Each business is different.
Amen.
Everyone's structured different.
Yeah, the best way to fail is to go copy somebody else's business.
Right.
Amen.
Yep. And like for us, we diversify. So we log some, we farm, and we run beef cattle. We're a regenerative. We just run regenerative beef. 20 years ago, we didn't call it regenerative farming. We just, it was management intensive grazing
That's right.
and whatnot. And but I think it was last year we added a firewood component. I've done a little bit of firewood 25 years ago, but I quit because it was so cheap in our area that you made beer money and that was about it.
Firewood's hard because it's a commodity thing, especially up where I am in Maine. Everybody's heating their house with it, so they'll switch a supplier for $10 a cord.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
there's no loyalty in firewood, and I tell people that all the time. When
Mhm.
somebody's looking to start a firewood business, if you're not going to take care of your customer and you're not going to do everything you can to make sure they're happy, when Alan calls and says, hey, I got firewood for $10 less a cord than what you're paying, they're going to say, yeah, sure, bring me some. And when somebody calls and says, hey, well, I found it cheaper, I always tell them, that's great, go ahead and buy it.
Yep.
They're like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, my price is set so that when you call next year, I'm still here to pick up the phone and be able to service you as a customer. I'm not going to sell it cheaper, and I'm not going to compete with somebody
Nope.
over $10 or $15 a cord, because this is what I use to pay my bills and feed my family. I've figured out what my costs are and where they need to be. And because of some of that competition in the home heating side, we've switched to a lot of bagged and restaurant wood now, which is a different market. It's a more demanding market because the customers want more specific items and firewood types and sizes, and that's all stuff that can be handled, but that's stuff that took pressure away from having to compete with those guys that are willing to cut your throat for $10 a cord.
Sure.
I mean, again, that's one of those things that if we all work together and everybody in the area says, hey, look, we're all going to sell firewood for $320 a cord, there's plenty of firewood business to go around for everybody.
Man. That's
plenty.
no joke. Yes.
So
Well, the thing is, everybody's got different costs and whatnot, and we've all got to make a living in this world. It's like, we say in our area, we've all got to make a decent living, but a pig gets fat and a hog gets slaughtered. In other words, don't get greedy.
Right.
You know,
Can't get greedy.
and I mean,
That's for
if
sure.
you look at somebody that's got
you got to make a decent living.
yeah, you look at somebody that's got a brand new setup, brand new processor, brand new delivery trucks, brand new this, brand new that. They got bills with that.
They got a payment.
Somebody had to pay for that
They
stuff.
got a payment.
So they're going to grind.
Yep.
If they figure that they're going to cheat it with volume, they'll drop their price $20 a cord because they got brand new equipment, and they're going to run it hard.
They're going to run it.
And they're going to try to run you over with it.
Yep.
Sit back and weather the storm. If you're happy with what you're doing and you got a decent product, sit back and wait. And I do it all the time. I've seen it so many times in the amount of time I've done firewood. These guys will come in and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do firewood. We're going to sell 3,000 cord a year. And they'll come out like gangbusters for the first year and a half. And that's all you see is their trucks going by. And it's not easy to sit there and see that truck go by all the time while you're, putting away with your orders. But then all of a sudden, you start hearing less and less, or you start hearing more and more complaints about that other person because their quality's gone away, or because they can't keep up with what they got for orders. And all of a sudden, that cycle starts turning back. And all those customers that you lost before, when they went and tried them, they start coming back. And they're like, hey, I know we haven't bought from you in a year or in a couple of years, but still wondering if you're doing firewood. Yeah, we're still right here.
Because a lot of these people, they can't do what we do. They
It's
think
work
they
every
can.
day.
Oh, yeah, they think they can. And it's almost like the people that work for you. I've had so many people. I mean, a handful. Ross Taylor, oh, my goodness, man. He would show up to work every day and work I don't care if we spent 18 hours. He was right beside me. I was like, man, why in the world are you beside me this whole time? You don't never complain or nothing. Man, you're right here too.
Yeah.
I'm not here by myself.
Yeah.
Your employees is who make you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing about it, though. If you show them, pay them attention, and you tell them good job, and you're doing great, they're gonna die for you, man. Yeah. But a lot of the people, those right there are very few and far between in firewood. I can't tell you how many times you pick up a guy, he's all big boy, you know what I mean?
Oh,
He's
I've
going to
seen
be
it
the
so many
best.
times.
Hey, man, I'm going to be tough. I can do this. They work all week. You know what they say at the end of the day when they get their paycheck? At
They're
the end of the
done.
week? No. And I cannot believe everybody's been quitting. Dude, I'm pumped. I'm ready for this. You know what I mean? Cool. See you next week. Monday comes, gets a little bit
they don't show
tighter.
up.
Oh, it gets hot. No, he's there. We work all week again. At this time, I had a little commercial log splitter with a 4-way on the log lift, but a little bit of the bigger pieces were away from it. And I never will forget, I came up on that Friday to pay him. He goes, hey, man, I don't think this is fair. I said, what's that, buddy? He goes, you're having me pick up these big old pieces and bring them over to this wood splitter, and I know I'm a big guy, but you can't even pick these up. Because I'm just a little guy, you know what I mean? I walked over, picked that thing up over my head 3 times and benched it and threw him back over. I said, hey, buddy, I would never tell you nothing I wouldn't do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people can say they can do it, but then when it comes down to it, like you're saying, oh, they did it for a year, but dude, did you see that, man? I worked my butt off. I mean, how in the world's Russ doing that over there? He's might have a little bit more stamina than you. How much do you have? Your product, if you've done everything you're supposed to do through the years,
It'll
it's like
sell
you
itself.
said, they will come right back.
Yep.
And a lot of them will not leave. I know in Indiana, if you make sure that person has what they have to have every year and you're there, a lot of it is you're there when you're saying you're there on time.
Yep.
Man, and I have a hard time with that. Sometimes I could put too much in a week and I'm like, oh no, I'm really sorry. It's going to be tomorrow evening, not this evening. I know I've already delivered 34 Rick today, but I thought I could get you in and I couldn't.
Yep.
Communication is key. Not calling people and not having, that's the worst thing you can do for your business.
That's really hard today is across the board. A lot of people, they don't get back to you.
They
No.
don't. And they can text too. They can't just call you. They can text you too.
Well, they don't get back to you. And then another thing, I mean, you get down in my area and other areas I've been where I've talked to people. I don't care what contracting field you talk to. If somebody will say, I need you to come out and cut a tree for me. Hey, Alan, I need you to come out and can you do this tree? Oh, yeah, sure. You don't ever hear anything back from them. They won't tell you no. Just
You're
tell
right.
me no. I'd rather hear no. Folks, if you're doing that to your customers, if you can't do the job, in a timely fashion or whatnot, or there's one reason or another, just be honest.
Yeah.
That'll get you a lot further. They'll respect that. But if you say you're going to do something and you don't follow up with it, or you don't, like Alan was saying, call them back, stuff like that, you're done.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with that whole little phrase that a customer will become a friend quicker than a friend will become a customer.
Amen.
Yep.
I don't know how many times I've had friends that, hey, I want to buy a couple cord of firewood. What do you give me for a deal?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you pay for both cords. And they're like, well, no, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's no less work for me to do firewood for you than it is to do firewood for you. So
Right.
why are you getting it cheaper? Well, yeah, but we've known each other for forever. And I've been doing this for forever too. And it's not getting any easier for me.
Right. Right.
Or
And you should understand.
and then you'll get a customer that they haven't gotten the greatest of firewood, and it's a new customer, and you drop off firewood to them, and they're like, hey, this is some of the best looking firewood that we've got. We really appreciate it and everything else. And, it'll be Christmas time. They send you a picture of a fire in their fireplace, just wanted to reach back out and say, hey, thank you so much for the great wood. Looking forward to seeing you next year. They never complain about the price. They don't ask what it is. And when they call the next year, they don't even ask what the price is. They just say, hey, can you bring me 2 more cord? Hey, can you bring me 3 more cord?
Yep.
You get there and they say, oh, what do I owe you? You tell them and they write the check, or they get the money out and they pay you.
But you're pricing it fairly.
Yeah.
Right.
You're making a respectable profit. You're not gouging.
Right.
You're pricing it to where you can make a decent living. You can feed your family, and that's the thing. You've got to price. Yeah, I mean it's
This is stuff for the younger generation coming in that always wants to do firewood.
Yeah, and I mean I say it all the time. In all my YouTube videos and stuff that I do, help someone if you can.
Amen.
It doesn't matter if I know Alan from a hole in the ground. If he calls me or emails me and says, hey, I'm looking to start a firewood business. You got any insight for me? What do you want to know?
Yep.
And they're like, well, why are you telling me everything? Because I've already done it all. If I can maybe save you a little heartache or a little grief along the way, I'll help you. I'm not saying what I do is right, but this is what I do.
Right.
I've been in business this long. I mean, you guys see what we do. When they watch our videos, we're kind of like a daily video blog. So they see through the course of the week how much wood leaves our yard.
Sure.
They see the equipment as it comes and goes, when we add new pieces or take stuff away. So there's no smoke and mirrors. There's no magic science behind it. We're not doing all these fancy sound effects and light shows. Bam, the firewood's gone.
Right.
No, we had to sweat and we had to work and we cussed and swore when we pinched our fingers and the truck broke, and we do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that helping someone if you can, that's building a relationship. So the woodhound community in general, I don't speak on behalf of the loggers because I don't do a lot of logging stuff, but the firewood and the sawmill community, we do so many charitable events and things like that. And all these guys that you help and you see throughout time, when you go to these events and these shows, they all come up and it's like a great big family.
Oh, it is a family.
Everybody gets along so well. Everybody they come together, they do what they need to do, and they go home. It's just an awesome time. So if you can help to build and be a steward of that community, that's what we need to do, because we're trying to get younger guys or younger women interested in this. It doesn't have to be a guy to do firewood.
No.
I know some girls that'll outwork guys all day long.
Oh man, I know a guy here in Indiana, Chris. He does over 1,000 like gas stations here in Indiana, even in Ohio and Kentucky, and everybody knows who he is because he has the women that delivers all of his firewood. He has women that sits at wood splitters and splits firewood from daylight till dark. Everybody knows them. I mean, they're at every gas station most of the time, but they are the fastest young ladies, and he don't have to worry about anything. You know what I mean? Because they know their job. You know how women are. Once they get on something and they love it, they're not stopping.
Oh, do I?
Easy, Russ. Easy.
They've got their ways of doing things. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
That's for sure.
Yep.
But,
man.
throughout time at being involved in a commercial bakery and my past experience and then having my own business, I found that women make better operators than men most of the time, and especially if they haven't operated before.
Yep.
Right.
Because if you show them, look, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to have done, they'll do whatever you tell them to do.
Yep.
Because they're trying to fit in a man's world. Because typically these operator positions weren't open to women.
They weren't.
Now they're trying to get into that position, and if they want to do it, they got to produce. So if you show them what they want, they'll go ahead and they'll do it. Some of the best operators I ever had when I was at the bakery were women. They'd run circles around the guys.
Yep.
So, you don't judge a book by its cover.
No, you do not. That's the worst thing you can do in this occupation.
I mean, that's just like little Kevin that helps me. He's 110 pounds soaking wet. He'll work circles around anybody 3 times his size all day long. And he'll do it with a smile on his face with a cigarette hanging out of the corner of his mouth. Even though he's not supposed to be smoking, but he'll still do it.
Yep.
you know, and we went to Hope last year in Pennsylvania, and one of the guys, Matt from Lily's Farm in Firewood, he felt bad because he saw Kevin lugging all the rounds over to the splitter like he always does for us. And he goes, "Hey, will the little guy run my splitter?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "He'll run whatever you want." He told him, he said, "Don't worry about those guys. They're big. They can handle their own." He said, "Come over here." Next thing I know, Kevin's running his splitter, and he let Kevin run it the rest of the day. And, you know, Kevin, coming from the background that he's at, he hasn't had a whole lot his whole life, you know, and he's really appreciative of everything. And the Woodhound community for him has been something really awesome. So to see him running that splitter, he had a great big old smile on his face. Awesome. I still got a short on my YouTube somewhere. I was like, "Hey, Kevin," I was like, "that splitter's the wrong color." A big old grin on his face. Yep. And he just running handles. I mean,
that's cool.
But it's one of those deals where you got to really be appreciative of what you got. And if you got somebody that's willing to put in the work and do good by you, use them as best you possibly can.
That's true.
Well, you know, I've a lot of times over the years when I've hired people and whatnot, I've preferred to get people that didn't come from the background that we were working in.
They don't have those bad habits.
Yeah, they don't have the bad habits, and you can teach them. And I've got a young guy that's come to me now. He's in his, I don't know, mid-20s.
Poor guy. Does he even know?
No, he doesn't have a clue.
He has no clue.
But he wanted to learn to be a climber.
He has no clue.
He said, "Ryan."
And you're putting him in a tree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, boy.
I'm still not getting in a tree.
He's probably, well, why not?
Because I'm too tall to be a climber.
Oh, no, you're not.
If I go 6 feet up as tall as I am, my knees start knocking. It sounds like Woody Woodpecker, and he ain't nowhere around. But you got less steps
to get to the top.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't cut trees on ladders neither. I put cable in trees to pull them over. That's all I do,
Come
man.
on, what can possibly go wrong with a chainsaw and a ladder?
Have you ever seen them videos?
Yes,
those are great. Those videos usually make my knees hurt, and I can't watch the whole thing.
I'm like, well,
yeah, but it's like watching a train wreck. You can't turn away either.
I got to turn away because I know how it ends.
Especially when they're all in a row.
But think of how much money they saved because they didn't have to hire somebody.
Yeah, well,
that's true.
That's just it.
That's true.
And I mean, Alan and you,
tree guys work
cheaper
cheaper than surgeons.
Yeah,
they do.
But this young guy, he's a deputy in in our local sheriff's department. And he's wanting to yeah, there you go. I told you, me and electronics don't get along. I'm not saying I'm the dumbest guy in the world with electronics, but I'm praying to God that guy doesn't die. So this guy, he's wanting to learn to climb, and I told him, I said, "I'll help you." So he's got all my climbing gear right now because I don't climb anymore. Unless you count round as a shape, I'm not in the shape to climb anymore. I mean, I could if I really wanted to, but you know,
You just better hope you can go retrieve him when he gets stuck up there.
Well, he was mouthing off the other day. I was teaching him how to climb on a double line technique, and he was starting to get a little snippy. And I sit there and tied the rope off the running end of his rope. He discovered he couldn't descend. He's like, "What'd you do?"
Said,
he's about 50 feet up a white oak. He couldn't come down.
And he's trying to teach me how to climb. I don't think so, Tim.
So,
but yeah, no, it's attitude's everything. I mean, if he's willing to learn, he's willing to put in the effort.
He's a good solid kid.
For somebody like the one of the three of us to teach somebody that's actually willing to learn.
Yep. Well, if we don't, I mean, how did we learn? You know, for me personally, getting into logging,
hard knocks.
Yeah, nobody wanted to, as a first generation logger, nobody wanted to hire me because I didn't have any experience. So I had to learn myself and teach myself until finally I found an older gentleman, Waitman Wade, that really taught me a lot. And but most of us get into these kind of things. Somebody, older person will come in and mentor us into this.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all three of us are at the age now where it's our turn to pay forward. What?
Speak for yourself.
Well, yeah, you are the young one in the group.
I know.
You are the young one in the group.
You are the young one.
He is. He's the baby.
I am.
That's why he's got the beard too.
Yeah, you don't want to see it without the beard. It's bad.
I look like I'm 60, but I'm really only like 4 years older than these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well,
they call this wisdom. I call this nervousness.
Right. Well, my wife's
Stress.
only seen me clean shaven one time since we've been married, and that was when I worked in the oil field briefly. She told me I was so ugly that if she saw me clean shaven again, she'd leave.
The beard doesn't help a whole lot.
Well, you got to do what you can, right?
All I can say is I'm really not dumb. I just look this way.
Right. So. Right. So, but pay it forward. Bring these young people in. We need them.
We need them really bad. Yeah. You know, industry, firewood, logging, tree trimming,
construction.
It's
You know, the
all-
average age of the construction worker now is like 41 years old.
That's really sad.
Yeah, that's not that old.
Well,
It all depends.
Yeah, it kind of depends.
But I mean, logging statistically is the second most deadly job in the U.S. besides commercial fishing.
I think it flip flops each year depending on who got killed the most that year.
So
It'd
when
be like, look at me, I'm 30.
when you look at that, how do you take a young person and tell them, hey, we've got this job that'll pay pretty good, but it might kill you too.
Yeah.
So, I think in our own aspect, we're all a little bit of an adrenaline junkie to a point. We're all trying to go a little faster. We're all trying to get a little more done in that same period of time. We're chasing that next big
Yep.
bang. So for him, the bigger the tree he cuts, the more adrenaline he's got pumping
it's
through
the
him.
best.
Those big ones are fun,
For
I'm
me,
telling you what.
but I don't like them all the time for production. They're fun for the adrenaline rush.
Oh, I do.
Well, yeah, but
If I cut one of them trees, that's $75.
well, yeah, right.
He's
But you're
thinking
cutting it and
20
walking
minutes,
away.
dude.
You're cutting it and walking away.
I
I'm
am.
cutting
See
it
ya.
and getting it out too.
You got to get it out.
Yeah.
Now, see the big dog, which Colin, he's the one that runs the skidder. Of course, a lot of people think all this equipment is mine and all these videos, and it's not. I'm just a dumb timber cutter. You
you're
know
a
what I
hired
mean?
gun.
I get paid by the foot. That's what I do. A lot of people don't. Man, what's up with that jack? Well, that jack's not mine. It's my best friend's. You know what I mean? I work with my best friend. I'm very, very privileged there. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of loggers out there that's going to rip you off as fast as they look at you, man. And there's a lot of them that's going to be. There's few that's honest. And if you go through your life and you find one of them honest people, man,
You hang on.
you find something.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
You touched on something real quick right there while we're there. So one of my personal pet peeves, you were talking about honest loggers and whatnot. Everybody says you got to have a consulting forester. I've known just as many of those that'll rip you off.
Yeah.
If you don't know about your timber, take a little bit of time to educate yourself.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
There's just as many, in my opinion, consulting foresters that'll do that as there are loggers.
True.
Yeah.
Hate to tell you that, but
You can only sell your timber one time. It is the cash crop, as you can say, to a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that sold their timber. There's a lot of people out there that haven't even sold a dime because they're scared to death of the logger. And I can totally understand that because
Rightfully
I've
so
seen
in some
really,
aspects, yeah.
you can only sell it one time. So sometimes that can be anywhere from 30 to 500 to $1 million timber sale, depending on what kind of timber you have.
30,000.
Yeah, 30,000. I'm telling you what, it could be big bucks.
But what I see happening up by me is you'll get a big mechanical crew that
Yep.
can come in and flatten 100 acres in 3 weeks.
Yep.
So instead of telling you what they're going to take out for wood, they're going to walk up and they say, Alan, here's a check for $30,000. We'll go cut that lot. You need money right now. That $30,000 looks great. You're like, yeah, great. I'll take it.
Yep.
Well, meanwhile, if you'd gone to a little guy like Ryan, who may take 3 months to do it, 4 months to do it, you're going to get 3 times the amount of money.
Exactly.
Because he's going to use you honest.
And you're going to have trees standing up.
Right.
Which everything's coming to mechanical logging. That's where we need the young people anyway.
Yep.
I mean, I know the guy that I worked for went out and he bought one here just a while back with the Dinglehead, Ryan Dinglehead. It's a smaller one. But if you learn how to run them just right, and the way the Dinglehead is, you can fall them just like you would your regular timber.
Yeah, you can cut
You
pretty
still
good
get
sized
them on the
tree.
ground. 30,
I think you said you
inch.
can. I think you said you can throw to 35 or
35
36 on that one. It's got a
And it's a
42
bar
inch bar.
saw.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to take away from me, but I want to actually learn how to run it too.
Right.
That's right. I'm going to learn how to run the devil. But I've always called it the devil because it's taken jobs like mine away from men a
Mhm.
lot.
Sure.
I will always do low impact logging because when you tell your neighbor you're going to manage their timber, you can't go in there with a humongous knuckle or, a humongous skidder. I like to use that little green bean skidder, you know what I mean? Like
That
Clint's
208.
got. Oh man,
Yeah.
we did a walnut job. Man, they didn't even know we were even in there.
Yep.
That's what I like. And then they go to the coffee shop and say, hey, you know what? TKP to come out and done my job. Dude, I couldn't even tell they were even there. Now you just bought his neighbors. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's called honesty. That's what the young of the people need to see. If you're honest with the people, you tell them what you're going to do and you do it. And the point is you do it if you know you're going to lose money. That's where a lot of
Yeah.
people wrong.
Old
It
man-
doesn't matter. You got to own up to it.
Old man taught me one time when we do business together, if I lose my butt, that's how it is. If you lose your butt, that's how it is. This is what we agreed to. This
Yep.
is what it's going to be.
How it
First
is.
track of timber I ever cut, first real boundary I ever cut. Because up to that point, I'd done little tiny jobs, an acre, 2 acres, something like that. This was a 30-acre boundary laid beautifully for the mountains. and 80-some-year-old man owned it. I think he was in his early 80s, widower. And I looked at the timber with him and agreed to cut it, and we agreed on terms right there on the spot. And I looked at him and said, well, sir, I'll go back and I'll work up the contract. I'll write it up and bring it back. He goes, no, you won't. You know, I was kind of stumped. I was like, I thought you wanted me to cut your timber. He goes, I do. I said, so what am I missing here? He said, son, it's like this. If your word and a handshake are not good enough and mine aren't good enough for you, we're not doing business.
Old school.
Old school.
Old school.
And most of the timber
going by the wayside.
Most of the timber I've cut's that way.
Yeah,
you know,
Amish.
people don't, it's, and that's the way business used to be done.
A lot of the Amish here in Indiana the same way. My dad and I went and got a job over in Greensburg, Indiana. Big Amish settlement over there. They ended up moving to Mays Lick, Kentucky, but we ended up logging their whole family's place over one job. And he said he had sold to a local there, the middle part of this 12 acres. Like they took out the whole middle part of it, but didn't take anything 200 feet from the line. And there was big timber. Like they didn't know how to cut the trees that were by the line. Didn't want to get nothing close to the line. But then when we found out at the end, when we got done with, we did 50-50. That's what we told them. We'll split it half with you. And they said, fine, that's great. And we'll agree with that. So in other words, they had to trust us like we had to trust them to the end. But the guy came over, man, we took Vernon out to eat every day. We went to go eat. He rode with us, you know, the Amish guy. Into the job. My dad hands him a check for $12,000. And he goes, we're going to go to the bank so we can split this? Dad said, buddy, that's yours. Just around the edges brought 24 grand. I'll never will forget his face. What? It's really mine? He goes, that's crazy. Dad said, was it not enough? They only gave me $6,000 for everything that was in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did all their family's thing. You got to be honest with them.
I've got a friend down in Georgia. He's got 300 acres down there. A lot of it was planted pine. He logged that a few years ago, and he had a consulting forester, and that turned into an absolute train wreck.
Yep.
He didn't get paid what he was supposed to get paid. He wound up having to get a lawyer involved. They didn't clean up after themselves. I mean, it was a
problem
mess.
is the forester's going to get paid too, so they're taking away from the landowner.
Usually around 10%.
And that's what the landowner doesn't.
10% in most places.
The
Yeah.
landowners usually don't understand that. They hear that, but they don't understand that that's coming from their pocket.
Well, and then a lot of times, some of the ways that I've seen over the years they'll do that is with a sealed bid.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like reverse housing contractor. You get 3 bids to build a house.
Right.
You know, the highest, the low bidder has got to cut a corner somewhere a lot of times.
Yep.
I know it's all sealed bids here too. And when they have one of them, the benefit that you have with a forester is if you trust the forester, he's a good forester.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get everybody and his brother that he sits down and eats coffee with and sends stuff to come look at your trees.
Yep.
And that can be a good thing.
It can be, absolutely.
But you're going to lose automatic 7 to 9% of whatever your value is right off the top. What did the forester do? Number one, he knows the people that you don't.
Right.
Number two, he took the time to mark your trees. And unfortunately, and I do not mean all foresters, so please
No, there's
not.
very good ones.
Yes.
There are some very, very good ones. The point is, I think what we're both trying to make is
do your homework.
Do your homework.
It's both sides of the aisle.
It is. You can catch the forester totally off guard. You can tell a good one from a bad one if you've done your research. If you've grown your crop, as long as you've owned your place, it's a crop just like it would be as a corn or soybeans. It just takes a whole lot longer to grow.
Yep.
And if you play your ball game right and you have that, then it's a resource, unless a tornado or something takes it away and damages it. But I mean,
I mean, these are just small pieces of the big puzzle that we have to deal with every day when we're trying to navigate and run businesses.
Amen.
And, you know, keep food on the table, make sure that the bills are paid, you know, working around weather, working around all the other things that come in contact with all this stuff. And, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to be able to lay your head down at night, shut your brain off, know you did what you were supposed to do, and know that you're putting your best foot forward, because tomorrow you got to get up and do it all over again.
Amen.
So,
and stay alive doing it.
Yeah. I mean, the best way to get hurt in the woods is to hurry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or
no joke.
not have your head in the game.
Yeah.
If you don't have your head in the game, when you go in the woods in the morning, you're asking for it.
My grandfather always told me it's not a matter of if you get hurt, it's when. Because if you're working in the woods long enough, you will get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to happen. I mean, I've been hurt in the woods. Alan's been hurt. I'm sure you've been hurt.
I've dislocated ankle, broken some bones. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen. So those are one of the things that we have to deal with out there. And, it's a different set of risks for each one of us because we're doing stuff a little different.
You just brought up something for the next podcast.
Absolutely.
The injuries on the job.
Yeah, those are always fun.
And workers' comp rates.
Oh, man. I know we need to talk about their next guest. The guest we'll have here on this next podcast will be Clint Sturgeon, Mr. Clint.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Oh, man, he's awesome.
He's cool,
and,
dude.
Really old school logger. He's taught 3,000 people how to cut timber. I mean, I'm very, very pleased.
That was with Game of Logging. He was friends with Soren Erickson.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
One of the best. Yes. And he's taught me a whole lot, guys. I know he showed me stuff with wedges that I never knew. That's the thing about logging.
We can all learn from each other.
Hey, that's the only way you become a master logger is to take everybody's way of doing things, put it together with one of yours, and then tweak it a little bit. Guys, I'm telling you, there's no tree you can't cut most of the time. And that's the goal. And I know it's been really exciting. Second podcast. I don't know about you guys. This right here is a pretty good time. We got a lot of stuff out there for everybody, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did all right.
We hit pretty good.
I had a few squirrel moments.
It happens. It's what keeps it interesting.
That's right.
It is. We could not do this without the faith that we have in our God. And we're so thankful for the resources that he gives us to do this.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got a platform. We've got a group of people that are wanting to hear this stuff. So, I mean, it's a chance for us to put what we have out there. It may not be the best knowledge in the world, but it's our knowledge.
That's right. A lot of loggers don't, traditionally loggers haven't talked and opened up about these things because how are you, for the most part, a guy was asking me the other day about it, and I was like, well, it's kind of like this. How are you going to relate to somebody that's, and this is no disrespect, but how are you going to relate to somebody that's worked in an office all their life? They've never sat around the water cooler and, watched a 2,000 or 3,000 pound log smash their friend brutally to death by the water cooler.
Right.
What I mean, or, they've never seen somebody helicopter lifted out of the woods, out of the office. I mean, how do they relate to that?
Right.
And, part of them are convinced that we're trying to destroy the planet. Why are we going to cut ourselves out of a job?
Right.
Exactly.
We destroy this resource and we don't take care of this. We're out of a job.
Yep. That's a big boom, baby. Well, hey, y'all make sure you guys tune in next Saturday for the next podcast. This is going to be every week, Saturday night at 8:00. So I know Mr. Clint can't wait.
It's going to be a good time.
He's a cool dude. I like
Clint. Awesome.
What you got?
But, it's like I always say, a little bit every day goes a long way. Help someone if you can.
And that is a big Indiana boom, baby. That's pretty cool, guys. A lot of fun.